My name is Lalo. I am the son of David and Maureen Lalo. I was born in Othri, but we lived most of my life. I lived in not most of my half of my life. I lived in Valhalla Park, and then my family moved over to Vrygrond, the place close to Muizenberg. My journey as a child is hectic, man. It was really, it was hectic. It was hard. We were one of those poor families, right? We didn't have food in the house. This is now you're staying in Valhalla Park. We most of the time we rented like a little room in somebody's house. I can remember growing up in Valhalla Park having absolutely nothing, where you would have people in the house. It's smoking ganja, smoking buttons that time, mandrax. People stabbing each other in the house, people killing each other in the house. That's kind of the house that I grew up in with. And there were like a lot of gangsters in our house, people that came from jail, like the number gangs. So literally in Valhalla Park, that's how I grew up. And I always tell people laugh and I say that, and it's the reality. The worst meal I ever had, meals, let me say that, meals, was there was a guy used to come and dump food. There was a pigsty there. So this guy used to come dump food for the pigs. And literally when he dumps the food, I literally have to jump in there and make sure I get something before the pigs get to it. And then I'd know, okay, I'd have something to eat today. What I did was to survive. Me and a few friends, we would go to people's houses. I don't know what they would call it, begging, but we called it boom back in the day. And then we would go to people's houses and knock and ask them for something to eat. That was the only way we could get something to eat. And then I met up with this one lady where I used to go, and she taught me this lesson. She was like, okay, you want something to eat? I can give you something to eat, but you have to clean first. Right, so I had to clean her garden first. Before husband comes home, I must clean the garden. Then she give me 4 slices of bread, then I can go home. And then it came to the point where she would give me 4 slices of bread and a bath. Because obviously, man, I was smiling, we didn't, hygiene wasn't that good. And then after my bath and my 4 slices of bread, I would go home. And then it went over to me having supper, a bath, and go home. So one day, at the age of, I think I was 8 years old. I went home to my parents, and obviously I walked into the house and people were drinking and smoking, and like I went upstairs. It was a mason. I went upstairs and like opened the bedroom door. It's like, oh, there's no one here. Oh, there's actually nothing here. I'm 8 years old, man. And there was absolutely nothing in the house. I came down, asked people, where's my mommy, where's my daddy? They couldn't answer me because people stone drunk or smoked, whatever. And then I went outside and I asked the lady next door, did you see my mommy them? And she's like, oh no, like somebody came and picked them up with a bucket. They took all the furniture and they left. So the only option I had was to go back to this lady that where I normally eat in the evenings. So I went back there and I said, look here, I think my mommy them are gone. She's like, no, it can't be. Let's go back there. We went back there. And then we found out, okay, they left. And she's like, okay, so what do I do with you now? And I was like, I don't know what to do now. And she's like, okay, come sleep over. Maybe they'll come tomorrow. And it's a bit of a bad story. And they came back after 2 months, right? So you must remember, I'm 8 years old. My parents just left. They don't know where I am. What am I doing? They came back after 2 months. Right? Now they came to fetch me. So now I don't want to go with them because literally you just left me. Man, I love my parents a bit, but they made bad decisions in life. And so the lady's like, okay, if you want to stay, you can still stay. So I stayed there until I was 13. So my parents came, they got me again. And now, it was nice. I was boxing and, doing all this nice stuff. It's like, oh, now they're going to uproot me and again. So, okay, but you want to be with your parents. I was like, okay, I'll go with them. So I went with them. And then it just got worse, man. So we got to this side, Muizenberg side, and it's like, we walk in, I'm like, okay, we're going to our house, I'm like, oh, these people have nice houses also. I'm like, okay, cool. And then we walk past these nice houses. Now we walk into a bush, literally into the bush. I was like, okay, we're in the bush. What are we doing in the bush? I'm like, oh, no, we live here. I'm like, we live in a bush? I'm like, yeah, we live here. Like a little shanty town called Vrygrond. And literally we lived in a bush. Our house was like a bedroom. That was the house, like a small bedroom. That was the size of our house, you know. And then my journey started here, this side with karate. I went to this karate place and I saw this place. I just walked past this place one day. It's like, oh, the people do karate, and I just sat outside the window, like, every day I would sit outside the window until the instructor came in. He's like, hey man, what are you doing? I'm like, oh no, I wanna. He gave me the fees. I wanna train. He's like, he gave me the fees. I'm like, oh, we can't afford that. And then I left, and then every day I would come and sit. Every day I would come and sit in front of the window, and he's like,
He was the student, the karate guy place in
it was in 7th Avenue, next to the post office. His name was Hussein Nak. It was Ashihara Karate. It was Ashihara Karate. And then he's like, okay, you know what, you can come and clean my garden for me, and then you can train. So every Saturday I had to go from 7 in the morning till 2 to go and clean the place, so that in turn then pays my fees. Right, so every Saturday, 4 times a week, I had to go clean, and that was my fees for the month. And then I became a karate champion. I did really good at karate. I did this for a while, and one of the senior guys in the gym was Quentin Arendse, my now professor. And he came to me and he's like, oh, Eddie, you know what? You got some talent. I'm starting this new thing. You want to come and have a shot at it? You want to have a look? I'm like, I'll try it. And then I went, we watched, it was not Hoist Gracie, it was it was Hoist Gracie with this big guy. I think it was a wrestler. And that fight was like 30 minutes. And I was like, guys, this is boring, man. These guys just laying on top of each other. I don't want to watch this. That time was VHS, right? VHS. So I watched this thing. I wasn't interested. And he's like, okay, come and try a class. So I did a class with him, and I had this 11-year-old boy just smashing me. And I thought to myself, okay, this is actually what I wanted to do. So my journey with him started there. He started coaching me as to jiu-jitsu, MMA, because the striking was very different to karate. Karate, you couldn't hit to the face. You could only kick to the face, but now here everything goes. So he helped me because he saw I got some hands because I did some boxing, obviously, for a while as a youngster. And he just kind of honed my entire skills. We would literally, he would have a fight camp coming up, and I would go sleep with him, sleep at his place. And then he would wake up in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock. Okay, hey, Eddie, we're going to go train. I'm like, what? What do what, is that time? No, it's 1 o'clock. I'm like, really? And we would jump through the window because the gym was right outside the window. Jump through the window and we would train. I mean, he built a gym. Quentin Arendse, my professor, built the gym. Me and him and another guy, Archie, we literally built the top gym. We built the carport. We laid the foundation. And we trained on, I won't lie to you, we trained on cement with a piece of vinyl on it. There was no mats. My knees, that's why today my knees are so shut. My knees were shut. And I would remember distinctively, he had to fight somebody in Durban. And he's like, hey, Eddie, man, these guys, they don't want to train really. Are you going to help me with this fight camp or something? I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And we literally train in the rain on cement. You know how it is to train jiu-jitsu on cement, man. But I mean, these were all things that I've learned, and they were all struggles and stuff that I had to go through to kind of get me to where I am. And the one thing that I can say is that when I started fully committing to him training, he had this katana, this 1100 katana. And he would pick me up every single night, come in the Vrygrond, come drive into Vrygrond with his motorbike, and then he would drop me also. And that for me, as a kid growing up, having nothing, people literally thinking nothing of you because your parents are full-blown alcoholics. You don't have food in the house. You don't have clothes. I mean, I was in school. I had to wear broken clothes all the time, broken shoes all the time. I mean, when it starts to rain, I literally have to put cardboard in my shoes so my feet don't get wet. And then you have this one guy that's just like, Eddie, you can do this, man. I promise you can do this. That's why up to today, Quentin Arendse, I have the world's respect for my professor, because he's not just only a martial artist, he's a human being, man. He saw this boy that had nothing, and he had something. He saw something, right? And then he's like, man, Eddie, you can go far, I promise you. Just train hard, man. Just train hard. So what happened was then, I trained with him for many years until the point where he made me the senior instructor, and he was the technical advisor of Top Gym. And there he taught me how to teach people, how to teach the art of jiu-jitsu, how to teach the art of MMA and boxing, how to teach people. And that kind of changed my life, because what I had martial arts. I would go home and I would be in the slump and like, I can't wait to get to training. When I get back from training, I would feel like, life is worth living, man. It gave me that thing whereas I had something to look forward to. Because literally when you walk into Vrygrond, you see poverty everywhere. You see people swearing, stabbing each other. There wasn't food. It was a dark place, man. Vrygrond was a really dark place. Um, and then when you get out there, and then you would take me to tournaments, and then I would be like, oh, I mean, that time it was very weird for me. Oh, I'm fighting white people. Oh, it's like, it was crazy because literally it's like, oh, you want? I was like, must I fight this guy? No, I was in a dump where everything was all about us, and then you would have, okay, white people right up there. And then when I had to fight him, I was like, must I fight white people? He says, yes, you must fight everybody. And that lessons I learned there I learned that we are all the same. When you get on the mat, we are all the same. Doesn't matter your skin color, doesn't matter how much money you have, we are all the same. I always say this to the guys, that guy is just as tired as you are, man. And it's just that who wants it more, right? When I roll with somebody and I get tired, I'm like, I feel like this, okay, he must also feel like, let me keep on pushing. Life will throw stuff at you, and we have to learn, especially this generation now, we have to teach them that they give up really easy. Like, especially millennials, I'm not, man, just fight a little bit more, Get people around you, man, people that believe in you. And what I've learned is you need somebody that believes in you. You can be as confident as you want, but you need just one person that believes in you, that be like, oh man, you know what, Eddie, you can do this, man. I promise you can do this. And that will change people's lives. We are in the sport not only for the sport, We're in this life not only for life, but we are here to help others, man. So I can speak, when I speak to people, like I can speak out of experience, and I can with confidence look in their eyes and say, man, you can do this. If I can do this, if I did this, you can definitely do this.